You walk into a room and everyone's smiles dim a little. You text someone about something important and they answer with a meme. You sit across from someone you love and feel like you're talking through glass. It stings in a way that's hard to name because the hurt isn't loud. It's small, constant, and the people doing it are the ones you'd expect to show up. This is a script about the quiet social maneuver that ruins afternoons and relationships. Avoidance. Not the dramatic cutoffs you see in movies, but the subtle, strategic pulling back. The half answers, the busy excuses, the ghosted plans, the conversations that stop right when you say something vulnerable. It's a strategy people use to manage social risk, and when it's used by the people closest to you, it hurts more because it breaks the basic expectation that those who love you will turn toward your need, not away from it. You felt ignored today. You don't know if it's deliberate. You don't want to look needy by bringing it up, so you hold it in. That's the moment avoidance does most of its work. People avoid for 3 basic reasons: self-protection, social maintenance, and emotional scarcity. Self-protection. Someone pulls back because engaging feels risky. Conflict might expose weakness, or a topic could threaten their identity. Social maintenance. Avoidance is a way to keep the peace. Sometimes stepping away preserves the larger system. Better to let the small crack sit than pry open and watch everything split. Emotional scarcity. We have limited energy. When someone's tank is low, avoidance is an economy measure. Conserve, don't spend. These aren't moral failures, they're human calculations. Imagine social life as a crowded marketplace. Everyone has a wallet of attention. People spend it where payoff is predictable. When a person senses that engaging with you will cost more than it returns, or that the conversation will explode their fragile calm, they choose not to spend. What avoidance looks like: changing the subject mid-sentence, answering with one-word texts, then waiting days. "I'll get back to you," that never happens. Smiling, nodding, but not following up on something you said that matters. Each of these is silent. It doesn't declare, "I'm done," it implies, "I'm not available." And because it's not loud, you're left with the worst part: uncertainty. Uncertainty is mentally exhausting. It invites explanations inside your head, some generous, some barbed, and you replay scenarios looking for a cause you can fix. Why it hurts more when it's loved ones. Expectations. With friends, family, partners, we assume reciprocity. There's a baseline contract. I'll be there for your soft spots. When someone violates that implicit contract, it feels like betrayal, even if their actions are protective. Attachment mismatch. Many of us learned to count on certain people for emotional scaffolding. When those scaffolds wobble, our whole structure feels unstable. Meaning amplification. A stranger avoiding you stings. A loved one avoiding you makes you question your worth inside a system that mattered. Think of intimacy like a ladder. Every close relationship is built rung by rung. Avoidance from someone you love is like loosening a rung. One loose rung doesn't collapse the ladder, but it makes climbing feel terrifying, and suddenly you notice all the rungs you took for granted. This psychology behind the strategy. Avoidance is often a protective choreography. People have scripts for handling emotional heat: escalate, match, or withdraw. Withdrawal is a script that keeps things contained. It says, if I respond fully, I might be pulled into a fight I can't manage. Identity safekeeping. People avoid when an interaction threatens who they think they are. If someone prides themselves on being composed, anger or deep vulnerability from another person threatens that image. Pulling back is a way to keep the self consistent. The reputation economy. In daily life, people constantly evaluate the risks of being seen reacting badly. Avoiding reduces the chance of being judged for failure to handle a situation well. Emotional triage. When you're low on resources, you triage relationships. You invest in what's stable and withdraw from what seems volatile. That's not always fair, but it's human. Why calling them out often makes things worse. Calling avoidance out activates shame and defense. The person avoiding didn't necessarily intend to hurt you. They may feel shamed at being bad at being there, and your call out can push them deeper into hiding. It can look like blame. Humans turn blame into protection. I was avoiding because you're too much, which is a judgment that closes doors. Timing matters. Confrontation when someone is already defensive or stressed will harden the avoidance pattern. So what actually works? 4 practical moves you can use right now. 1. Name the pattern, not the person. Instead of, "You ignored me," say, "It felt like the conversation shut down earlier, and I left feeling unsettled." Why this works? It lowers the stakes. You describe the event's effect on you instead of attacking their character, which makes it easier for them to respond without shame. 2. Short-circuit uncertainty with a micro question. Ask a one-line, low-risk question. Are you okay to talk about this now or later tonight? Or was today a bad time? It gives explicit permission and a clear path either to engage now or schedule later. It reduces guesswork and preserves dignity. 3. Offer a simple behavioral ask. Replace emotional appeals with a specific behavior. If you need space, can you say, "I need a break," instead of disappearing for days? Why this works? People can't rise to vague requests. Concrete, doable asks make change possible. 4. Protect your ladder. Diversify your support. Don't expect one person to be your entire scaffold. Build multiple small rungs, friends, communities, hobbies that can catch you when one rung loosens. Why this works? It reduces dependency and the catastrophic feel when one rung loosens. How to decode avoidance without spiraling. Look for patterns, not episodes. One instance of someone being unavailable doesn't define them. Patterns, multiple times, similar contexts, are the real signal. Ask about context. People avoid differently when they're stressed, sick, or overwhelmed. Curiosity about the situation helps you interpret their actions more fairly. Avoid the all-or-nothing story. The narrative, "they don't care," is a shortcut that usually amplifies pain. Prefer a mixed explanation. They care, but they manage differently. What to do when avoidance is chronic and toxic. If avoidance becomes a pattern that harms your mental health, it's not just a strategy, it's a cost. Chronic avoidance from a partner or family member is emotional labor you shouldn't be expected to absorb. Set boundaries. State what you need. If this will be a long-term pattern, I need to know so I can protect myself. Boundaries are not ultimatums, they're sanity-preserving plans. Reassess relationship investment. If someone consistently chooses avoidance to avoid growth, you have to decide whether to keep investing your emotional currency in that relationship. A short example. You tell your sister you're struggling, she laughs it off, then sends a meme. That's avoidance disguised as humor. Instead of exploding, what if you replied, "This is a small thing, but I could use real words right now. Can we talk?" If she answers, "Not tonight," you've received clarity. If she keeps mocking, you've found a pattern. Either way, you gain information. You don't sit in a fog. Avoidance is both preservation and betrayal. People avoid to preserve themselves or the relationship. At the same time, avoidance can erode trust and intimacy. The deeper truth, people avoid because they're trying not to make things worse. This is not an excuse to hurt you, but it explains why loved ones sometimes hurt us without malice. How to keep your dignity while holding others accountable. Use I statements, specific asks, and time-bound experiments. Example, "I felt shut out last week. Can we try a rule for 2 weeks? If one of us needs space, we say so and check in within 48 hours. Frame it as an experiment. People hate being boxed in. An experiment sounds temporary and collaborative, which reduces defensiveness. What to watch for when someone changes? Small behavioral shifts matter. If they move from ghosting to a consistent, "I'll reply by Sunday," that's progress. Don't demand perfection. Avoidance rarely disappears overnight. Notice small wins and let them accumulate. The self-work that makes avoidance less likely to scar you. Build emotional reserves. The less desperate you are for one person's response, the less their avoidance can destabilize you. Practice asking for what you need in low-stakes situations. Train the muscle. Tighten your internal narrative. Replace catastrophic stories with curious ones. "I wonder why they pulled back," instead of "they don't love me." 2 lines to try the next time. "I want to share something short. Do you have 5 minutes?" This gives permission and a limit. If you need space, say so. "I'd rather know than guess." This normalizes boundaries. A reflective challenge. Think of one person you expected to be a ladder rung and write down one recent moment where they pulled back. Now ask, was it avoidance born from protection or from indifference? If it was protection, what small, specific ask might invite them back? If it was indifference, what boundary do you need to keep standing? You don't deserve vanishing acts. You deserve clarity, and clarity is a skill you can practice. Start with one small ask. See what happens.